At least 20 Palestinians killed at chaotic Gaza aid site amid conflicting reports. According to the Associated Press, at least 20 Palestinians died at a food distribution center in southern Gaza run by the U.S. and Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. The GHF said 19 were trampled and 1 was stabbed in a crowd surge. It blames on Hamas-affiliated agitators. However, the Gaza Health Ministry and witnesses claim GHF's private security used stun grenades and pepper spray, inciting a panic that led to suffocation and trampling. There is no clear consensus at this time. Japan's ruling coalition projected to lose upper house majority in key election. According to Reuters, exit polls from Japan's upper house election project that Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba's ruling LDP Komeito coalition will lose its majority. The vote was seen as a rebuke of Ishiba's government amid voter frustration over soaring prices, lagging wages, and immigration. The result could deepen political instability as Japan faces a looming U.S. tariff deadline and may trigger calls for Ishiba's resignation. Tourist boat capsizes in Vietnam's Ha Long Bay, killing at least 35 people. According to Reuters, a tourist boat carrying 53 people capsized during a sudden thunderstorm in Vietnam's Ha Long Bay, a popular tourist destination. At least 35 people have been confirmed dead, and a search is underway for 4 who remain missing. The government reported that most of the passengers on the Wonder Sea vessel were Vietnamese families, including several children. An investigation into the incident has been ordered. Ukraine proposes new peace talks as Kremlin maintains hardline stance. According to Reuters, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has announced that Kyiv proposed another round of peace talks with Moscow for next week, aiming to accelerate a ceasefire. In response, the Kremlin stated that President Putin is ready for discussions but that Russia's primary objective is to achieve its goals, indicating no fundamental change in its position. The diplomatic exchange comes as Kyiv continues to face Russian nighttime missile and drone attacks. U.S. secures hostage release in 3-way swap with Venezuela and El Salvador. According to CNN, the United States secured the release of American hostages held in Venezuela through a prisoner exchange. The deal involved the deportation of approximately 250 Venezuelan migrants, who had been detained in a prison in El Salvador, back to Venezuela. The swap resolves a tense hostage situation and involves complex diplomatic coordination between the 3 countries. South Korean prosecutors seek arrest of military drone chief in political probe. According to Reuters, prosecutors in South Korea have requested an arrest warrant for the head of the military's drone operations command. The move is part of an investigation into allegations that former President Yoon Suk-yeol ordered a covert drone flight into North Korea last year. The alleged mission was intended to provoke tensions to justify a declaration of martial law. The impeached former president has denied the allegations. U.S. threatens to disrupt Mexican airline flights over trade dispute. According to Reuters, the Trump administration is threatening to disapprove flight requests from Mexican airlines and may withdraw antitrust immunity from the Delta Air-Mexico partnership. The U.S. Department of Transportation stated that Mexico has violated a bilateral air agreement by reducing flight slots for U.S. carriers and forcing the relocation of U.S. cargo operations from Mexico City's primary airport, creating an unfair competitive environment. U.S. races to build migrant tent camps with $45 billion funding boost. According to Reuters, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is rapidly moving to expand its migrant detention capacity from 40,000 to 100,000 beds by year-end. The effort, backed by a $45 billion funding increase, involves building large-scale tent camps at military bases and IC jails. Top administration officials have indicated a preference for these new facilities to be run by Republican-led states rather than private companies. China stocks rise after government vows to tackle deflationary price wars. According to The National, stock markets in Shanghai and Hong Kong closed higher on Friday. The gains followed a pledge from Beijing to rein in aggressive and deflationary price cutting by Chinese companies. The move is part of an effort to stabilize the domestic economy and tackle concerns about deflationary pressures that could hinder growth. The Shanghai Composite settled 0.5% higher while Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index jumped 1.3%. Global cryptocurrency market cap hits record $4 trillion after U.S. stablecoin law. According to Reuters, the total market capitalization of cryptocurrencies surged to a record $4 trillion on Friday. The rally was primarily catalyzed by President Trump signing into law a landmark bill that establishes a regulatory framework for stablecoins in the United States. The move fueled investor optimism and institutional inflows, sending Bitcoin to a new high above $120,000 and boosting crypto-linked stocks like Coinbase and Robinhood to all-time highs. U.S. stock markets closed mixed after record-setting week for Nasdaq. According to Bloomberg, Wall Street ended the week with a quiet, mixed session. The tech-heavy Nasdaq Composite rose less than 0.1% to secure its fifth consecutive record close. The broader S&P 500 finished nearly flat, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average declined 0.3%. Strong consumer sentiment data helped ease investor concerns about the potential impact of future trade tariffs, contributing to overall market stability. Invesco shares surged 15% on plan to restructure massive QQQ tech ETF. According to Investopedia, shares of asset manager Invesco were the top performer in the S&P 500, soaring 15% on Friday. The rally followed the company's announcement that it had filed a proxy statement asking shareholders for permission to restructure its massive Invesco QQQ trust. The proposed reclassification of the Nasdaq 100 tracking fund is expected to boost Invesco's fee revenue while lowering costs for shareholders. Health insurer stocks plunge after Elevance Health cuts full-year guidance. According to Investopedia, shares in the health insurance sector fell sharply after Elevance Health cut its full-year financial outlook. The company cited higher-than-expected costs related to its Medicaid and Affordable Care Act health plans. The news sent Elevance stock down 8.4%, while shares of competitor Molina Healthcare, the S&P 500's biggest decliner, plunged more than 10%. Netflix shares fall over 5% on guidance for lower second-half margins. According to Investopedia, Netflix shares sank 5.1% in the wake of its quarterly earnings report. Although the streaming company surpassed net income estimates and raised its full-year revenue outlook, investors focused on its forecast for lower operating margins in the second half of 2025. The company attributed the expected margin compression to higher content amortization and increased sales and marketing costs associated with a broader content slate. U.S. reverses course, will allow NVIDIA to resume AI chip sales to China. According to the Associated Press, NVIDIA announced it has received assurances from the Trump administration that it will be granted licenses to sell its advanced H20 AI computer chips to China. The decision reverses a ban implemented in April and is seen as a result of intense lobbying. The move is intended to allow U.S. firms to compete with Chinese domestic chipmakers like Huawei, though NVIDIA has warned customers of limited supply due to manufacturing ramp-up times. Gates Foundation leads $1 billion initiative to develop AI for public service. According to the Associated Press, a coalition of funders including the Gates Foundation and Ballmer Group has committed $1 billion to a new entity, Next Ladder Ventures. The 15-year initiative will fund the development of AI tools for frontline workers in the public and social sectors, such as public defenders and social workers, to help them manage large caseloads and improve service delivery. AI firm Anthropic will provide technical expertise and access to its technology. UK launches expert groups to resolve AI and copyright disputes. According to the UK government, new expert working groups comprising representatives from the creative industries and the AI sector have been formed to address the contentious issue of AI and copyright. The groups, chaired by the Technology and Culture Secretaries, will work to find practical solutions regarding how AI developers use copyrighted material for training and how creators can be protected and compensated, aiming to provide legal clarity for both sectors. NVIDIA faces H20 chip supply constraints for China despite U.S. approval. According to the information, despite winning U.S. approval to resume H20 AI chip sales to China, NVIDIA has reportedly informed Chinese customers of limited supplies. The supply constraints stem from the previous U.S. ban in April, which forced NVIDIA to cancel manufacturing capacity with chipmaker TSMC. Resuming production of the specialized chips could now take up to 9 months as production lines were reallocated to other clients.